Alright, let's jump right into it now. Well, thank you all for coming, and we're going to cover some great material, and let's get started now. So the reason I'm here is because I want to help some people learn the business of investing in small bite-sized chunks, and I'm going to share some knowledge. Hopefully, they can be actionable by anyone. And I used to write a personal finance blog, but I couldn't directly see the impact on people's lives. And I would get some great feedback, but I couldn't always quantify the difference or the changes that would happen as a result. So I'm going to find a way to help and give back. If you get anything good out of this, please let me know, because this is what drives me to try and help people. So uh, you know, quick story about my family. It was middle class lifestyle. My family and relatives. A lot of them, though. I mean, more of my family lives in trailers than in houses. So I wanted to make sure that not only did I earn money early in life, but I wanted to learn everything there was to know about building wealth. And today we're going to talk about a personal balance sheet, which is a big part of that. But first, I wanted to touch on some of our goals, right? We all have goals, things we want to accomplish. And I'd like to say that a goal without a plan is just a wish. And you got to think about, what if you could achieve 3 or 5 of these goals in the next 10 years? And what if you could have all of them and everything you'd ever dreamed of? And that's the end goal of what we do here. But let's jump right into the personal balance sheet. So why bother tracking where your money goes? If you want to be financially independent, then your decisions that you make every day and every week and every month make all the difference in what happens with our money, right? So you need to rely on keeping track of your cash flow, which is money you make, your expenses, money you spend, and then the debt that you carry. So what does a balance sheet look like, right? I mean, we hear a lot of people went out of budget, but a balance sheet just takes that a little step further. So basically, you take all the assets in your life and you subtract all the debt you have. It seems pretty simple. And this is the single best way to determine your monthly and yearly financial health. And I like to track my balance sheet weekly to help me make decisions and know kind of where I'm at in my goals. So first, when you're looking at your cash flow equation, so you're going to add up all the money that you make, all your income, and then you subtract all of your debt and your bills. So obviously, if your cash flow is in the red, you know that you have a serious problem you need to deal with. And sticking your head in the sand, it's only going to compound the problem. So, to build financial wealth or retirement or any of these goals we have, it always happens $100 at a time. Every paycheck we get, every decision we make to spend, it all comes back to looking at our cash flow equation and figuring out, is it our decisions we're making going to put us in the red? Are we still going to save money at the end of the month? So this is a major part of tracking your net worth, and the personal balance sheet is kind of knowing where your money goes, right? And I want to talk about the tools that I use to track my own personal balance sheet and my cash flow. So a long time ago, we used to track some of this stuff in Microsoft Money or Quicken, but it's a lot easier today to track these expenses than ever before, because we no longer have to put in this data manually. It all happens for us automatically if you use the right tools. And it used to be seriously time consuming, but that's no longer the case. So Yodlee started out before Mints, and it was more of like a business-to-business play on financial data. The consumer interface and integration is mainly to financial institutions, but Yodlee was a little bit superior to Mint until they entered the market, and Mint was able to pull ahead with a business-to-consumer focus. But Yodlee is now called Yodlee Labs, and you can still find their product, but it's integrated with a lot of banks like Bank of America. Another tool I also started using was called Personal Capital. However, I'll throw out the caveat there that Personal Capital, they do, try and give you sales pitches on investments. And here's an example of the Yodlee dashboard. So I've used Yodlee for many years. Mint might be a better fit for you, or Personal Capital might be a better fit. Just I have a long history in Yodlee, so I can't always just export that and bring it into Personal Capital. So I use both of them side by side, but it's definitely a good tool for tracking income and expenses and bills. And once you have the automated balance sheet set up, then you can very easily determine how your financial picture is looking on a weekly or monthly basis. So the key is to find problems early and fix them, usually by any means necessary, right? Because if you're in a deficit spending in the red, then you definitely need to fix that somehow. One more item I wanted to touch on before we wrap for tonight was the debt to income ratio, because we're going to cover a few, just a basic ratio here, but this helps determine your financial health. So they're really easy to do with information that you get from your balance sheet, which we talked about 2 slides ago. So the debt to income ratio is essentially how much of your paycheck doesn't belong to you. And this is what it looks like. So you add up your monthly debt and bills, and then you divide it by your total income. So I have an example below. So if you had a mortgage payment, student loan, a car payment, and you divide that by the amount of money you make. And then you end up with a ratio, or that's a percentage. So when you divide it, you end up with 0.3. And if you calculate that in a percentage basis, it's 30%. So whenever you've got a banker looking at, you're trying to get a mortgage, they might say, well, you need your debt to income ratio to be less than 35% or 40%, because they don't want you getting too leveraged up in credit card debt or having a car payment and missing that mortgage payment and having to go through a foreclosure process. So I think that's next one I want to talk about was the leverage ratio. So we all have debt, and the main trick is to find out your comfort level with debt, right? So by tracking your personal leverage ratio, that's definitely going to help you focus on whether you have good debt or bad debt. But if you want to track it on a monthly or yearly basis, if you look at your total debt and liabilities and divide that by your total income, that's kind of show you whether you're having good debt is different than having $100,000 in credit card debt, right? Because the interest rates are different, and hopefully your house or mortgage would be an appreciating asset. Yeah, so I guess that pretty much covers the 3 basic things I wanted to talk about for tonight. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'd love to see them in the comment box below. And you can follow us on Facebook at KnowVest, and you can follow us on YouTube as well. You can look for us at KnowVest, and we're also on Twitter. So we'd love to hear questions or comments about the content, and I hope to push out some more great stuff soon. Thanks, guys.